Hi, this is David McCann for WebTNG. In this video, I'm taking a look at three popular block collections: GenerateBlocks, Kadence Blocks, and Stackable Blocks. People often ask which one is best and which should you use. We'll take a look at the similarities and differences of these three block collections, and I hope by the end of the video you'll have a sense of which one will work best for you. If you like the video, please subscribe. It helps to spread the word about the channel. Let's go alphabetically and start with GenerateBlocks. My take on the company philosophy is that it promotes a minimalist approach to building sites. GenerateBlocks and the GeneratePress theme are both lightweight with no bloat. They provide the tools to get the job done, but they also might require some effort, adding some CSS, or combining blocks to create your own composite blocks out of the building blocks that GenerateBlocks offers. GenerateBlocks comes in a free and pro version. The free version is available on the WordPress plugin directory. You can see it has more than 90,000 active installs. It's got 86 5-star reviews, and 4 out of 18 support issues have been resolved. If we look at the company's website at the Pro version, we see that it adds a pattern library. This is something that is different than Kadence and Stackable, is that GenerateBlocks has moved away from templates and moved instead to patterns, which means, it's based on Gutenberg. The Pro version comes with global style options, CSS effects, advanced background, container links, asset library, copy and paste styles, device visibility, and custom attributes. Okay, if we look at the pricing, we can see one site is $39 a year, 10 sites $69, and 250 sites is $99 a year. There's no lifetime option. Here's a website with GenerateBlocks free and pro installed and GeneratePress Pro theme installed. Let's go take a quick look at the plugins. Note that the pro version requires the free version. You get a dashboard here, and GenerateBlocks free version comes with 6 blocks, and no additional blocks are added in the pro version. Remember when I said it was a minimalist approach? That's right. They're providing the building blocks and you can put them together to create your content. Let me illustrate what I mean when I say that the philosophy of GenerateBlocks is that you build it up yourself as opposed to having pre-designed options by contrasting GenerateBlocks and Kadence. Let's go to a Kadence site here. I have Kadence theme and Kadence blocks. I have the same custom post type on both sites. Here are a bunch of posts, and they have a taxonomy called genres. And let's say that I want to write an article about the fantasy books that have been reviewed, okay? The book custom post type, we have a title, content, taxonomy, featured image, and then we have an ACF URL field, the author's website, and an ACF image field, our author's photo. Okay, so if we go and we want to create a list for our post about fantasy books, we add a block. In this case, we'll add the post grid carousel. So here we are. We want to be about books. We want to filter by taxonomy and just show the fantasy books. We want to show one record per row, and we need to make the image a little smaller, and we need to size the image so we see everything. Okay, let's say then we've done that. Pretty easy, right? We just clicked a few buttons, made a few choices. We have our post list. Now, suppose we want to add a button on the post list to go to the author's website. Remember I showed there was an ACF URL field to go to the author's website. Well, even though we have maybe 100 settings here. They're all hard-coded. There's not that flexibility just to add in another field. Now let's go look at how you do this with GenerateBlocks. Okay, let's go back to our GenerateBlocks site. Let's go and create a post list example here. GenerateBlocks documentation says it's a good idea to start out with a container before adding in the query loop block. They have a query loop block. Okay, so there's not a pre-made post list block. We're going to create our own. We'll start with a blank slate here. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we have our post template, and then here we will add the grid. Let's see, we'll go to the query and we'll tell it that we want to use books. We did that in the Kadence example. And now we can add query parameters. And so we want to say that we want to include taxonomy term fantasy. Okay. Then if we go here to the column on the left, let's add an image block, and let's go to dynamic data, and we want the featured image. Okay, there are featured images. We can go to settings, and we can say that we want the image to be, say, 180 by, let's say, 260. Okay. This first record is acting as the template, and whatever we put in here, it will pick it up here. Let's add a headline block, which is the GenerateBlocks kind of one you use for text. And we'll go to dynamic data, and we want it to be the title. Okay, and then under that, we'll add another headline block, but this time it'll be a div, and we'll enable dynamic data, and this time we'll have the post excerpt. So now we need probably a little space between our content. Now we've got the same output, more or less, that we had with the Kadence block. We had to build this up ourselves, make a composite of what we wanted. But now suppose we want to add that URL. Let's go to the column with the image, and now let's add a button, and we'll say visit author's website. We can give a little margin at the top. What we want here is we want our link to be dynamic data. So let's enable dynamic data, and our link source now is going to be post meta, and the name of the field is author's website. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and let's go and look at this on the front end. We should go to George R. Martin's website now, and we do. And now we should go to David Dalglish's website for this record. And we do. This is an example of how it's more work, but you have more flexibility. So this appeals to, I'd say, power users or developers, maybe more than your common end user. Before we move on, there are a couple of further things I wanted to say about GenerateBlocks. The first is that you can use them with any theme. However, the natural pairing is GeneratePress. And the GeneratePress Pro theme has an Elements feature, and the Elements feature lets you use Gutenberg and GenerateBlocks to create theme templates. It's a GeneratePress theme builder solution. So while you can use GenerateBlocks with any theme, it makes sense to use it with GeneratePress. Another thing is that GeneratePress has embraced block patterns instead of templates. Patterns are a little bit lighter weight. You can copy and paste them easily. The ability to save your own patterns is a feature of the Pro version. Another feature of GenerateBlocks Pro is that it adds CSS effects, so animations, to the blocks. In terms of dynamic data, an interesting thing to note is that access to custom fields is available in the free version of GenerateBlocks. Kadence and Stackable, that's a Pro feature. GenerateBlocks is ACF only. And the Pro version of GenerateBlocks gives you the option to hide blocks based on device size, so whether it's desktop, tablet, or mobile. On to Kadence. When I think of the Kadence philosophy, what comes to mind is their more general use, with more appeal to a wider audience than GenerateBlocks. I think that customer feedback has been important, but also I think that the developer knows his market, and he's been innovating solutions, perhaps with a slant towards marketing and e-commerce. I'll show you what I mean by that last bit in just a minute. But first, here's the free version of Kadence Blocks on the WordPress plugin directory. You can see that it has more than 200,000 active installs, 115 5-star reviews, and 9 out of 31 support tickets have been closed. The free version of Kadence Blocks comes with 21 blocks, so quite a bit more than GenerateBlocks. If we look at the Kadence Pro website, you can get Kadence Blocks Pro by itself annually, or you can get it in some annual bundles with other Kadence products. And there's also a full lifetime bundle. Kadence Pro has 10 additional blocks. It has an image overlay, video pop-up, a modal block. It has a post-grid carousel, a portfolio grid carousel, product carousel, split content, advanced slider user info, and then it has enhancements for the Kadence gallery block, the Kadence countdown block, and the Kadence form block. There are a few features that come with the Pro version of Kadence Blocks. You have animate on scroll, custom icons, dynamic content, custom font support, the design library, and you can add page-specific scripts. I said that the Kadence Blocks were general purpose. They're designed for a wide range of uses, but that I thought there was an e-commerce and entrepreneurial slant. So before we go and look at the blocks, I wanted to explain what I meant by that. And it's largely the Kadence ecosystem. Kadence has a number of products that are together in their bundle that is built around the Kadence theme and Kadence Blocks. And there are several products that fit into these categories. The first is that they recently released the Kadence Shop Kit. This is a plugin with a number of WooCommerce extensions for designing and adding extra features to your WooCommerce site. Product galleries, product image zoom, cart notices, variation swatches, advanced reviews, size charts, variation price control, category extra descriptions, change, add to cart text, checkout manager, product brands. Okay, so lots of features there, and people who are using it are pretty excited about it. Now, another plugin in the Kadence bundle is Kadence Conversions. This is a pop-up builder that allows you to create pop-ups and sales banners, slide-ins. It comes with some pre-designed pop-up templates that you can use, or you can build your own. It's based on Gutenberg. Looking at this, it kind of reminds me a bit of the Elementor Pro pop-up builder. It has automatic triggers and a number of display conditions. Obviously, this is also another plugin that will appeal to use on e-commerce sites or for entrepreneurs. And finally, another plugin of the Kadence bundle is the Kadence Cloud. And what this is it allows you to sell child themes and templates from your own website. So there's some designers using this to sell their works, and there's some agencies and freelancers using this as a quick way to bring in designs from their central website. Again, something that appeals to entrepreneurs and e-commerce. These three things, the shop kit, the conversions, and the Kadence Cloud, those are all features built around the Kadence theme and blocks plugins. All right, now let's go and take a look at the blocks. So this is Kadence test site. I've got the Kadence theme and Kadence blocks installed. If we go and look at the plugins, you see I have the free version of Kadence Blocks and the Pro version. So with the Pro, you have to have the free version installed and activated also. Gives you a menu item here. There's a quote-unquote settings page, but really the only setting on this page is for managing your Lottie animations. Now the free version comes with a form block, and the Pro version extends that, and one of the ways it extends it is that you can save the form entries into the database. So that's nice. And then Pro also lets you add your own custom icons. If we go look at a page in the editor, just to look at the blocks here. So you see there are a very large number of blocks, and they span a lot of categories. And because of that, the Kadence blocks can be used for a lot of different things. I went through this list of all of the blocks and kind of put them into groups, and this is what I came up with. There's a group of layout blocks. There's a row layout block, and there's a section block, right? These are the containers. But then accordion tabs and show more are also kind of container blocks in a different way. You know, you're not adding rows and columns, but they're containers of their own. And then there's a spacer divider block. Then there's kind of a miscellaneous group. There's a count up and a count down. We're going to take a look at the countdown block. And then there's a form block, and we'll look at that one briefly also. Maps block, Lottie animations, a modal, and a table of contents. Then these are the blocks that allow you to choose custom fields. So you see there are a lot of blocks, but not all of them have the option to choose custom fields. And you use these with the Kadence Pro theme. It's the Pro version that has the dynamic data support, and you use these with the Pro version of the theme. Kadence has an elements feature which includes its version of a theme builder using Gutenberg blocks. If you remember back to the GeneratePress blocks, you have a handful of blocks that can be used to cover a range of dynamic data custom field types. Then there are kind of general content blocks, like a gallery, a slider, icons, a list, info box, image overlay, a portfolio, a posts block, post grid, carousel block, split content, and testimonials. By having blocks that kind of span these different categories, it means that the Kadence blocks can cover a lot of different use cases. I mentioned the countdown block, so let's go take a look at that. You've seen this kind of countdown before. You can pick the date and it'll count down, so like you could have a countdown to New Year's or something. Then you have a lot of options of what to do when you get to 0. You have layout options, counter options, number options, label, container, visibility options, so you can hide by device size. This is like a marketing type block, and if you had any question about it being a marketing type block, the Pro version of it gives you the option for an evergreen version of a countdown. So this resets then, obviously a marketing focused block. The form block is pretty convenient. It doesn't replace a dedicated form plugin, but if you look here at the options, you can have text, email, text area, accept, select, telephone, checkboxes, radio, hidden. A decent number of field types that you can have on your form. You have actions after submit, email, redirect the user, an auto-respond email, save it in the database, and then some email marketing platforms MailerLite, Fluent CRM, Sendinblue, and MailChimp, and a webhook option. You can see it's pretty full-featured, and it's great for creating a contact form or an email sign-up form. Not many block collections have a form block. So a couple of other things that I wanted to mention about Kadence Blocks. I already mentioned the theme, but the blocks are a natural pairing with the Kadence theme. You don't have to use the Kadence theme, but if you do, it picks up the colors and typography options. Kadence has some global options here that you can set. The dynamic data options are available in the Pro version. It supports advanced custom fields, metabox, and toolset, so it's not just ACF. Device visibility options are available in the free version, and that's mobile, tablet, desktop. And additionally, it's also in Kadence logged in versus logged out viewers, so you can hide blocks based on the logged in status. Conditional display options are available in Pro. And let's just take a quick look at these. You can have your display condition based on a custom field or the value of the post fields, some archive fields, and some author fields. And additionally, comments count is an option. And when you have a condition set, then it shows this little badge in the editor so you can know that there's a condition been set on the block. Okay, so let's look at the Kadence blocks. Now let's go take a look at Stackable Blocks. Now we take a look at Stackable. When I think of the philosophy of Stackable Blocks, what comes to my mind is that they are also general use like Kadence. However, they're really more focused on content. You don't have that entrepreneurial e-commerce ecosystem like you have with Kadence. Another thing about Stackable Blocks that I think helped influence them is that the developers really gathered a lot of feedback from users and implemented the suggestions from users. So I think that of the three, Stackable is the one whose development has been most user-driven. And I think Stackable wants to be more of a universal solution and something that people can turn to for pretty much any use case. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a few minutes. But first, let's look at the Stackable page on WordPress.org in the plugin directory. It has more than 60,000 active installs. It's got 320 five-star reviews, so it's got fewer installs than GenerateBlocks or Kadence Blocks, but more five-star reviews. Remember what I was saying about really listening to user feedback. And then 1 of 9 support issues resolved in the last 2 months. The free version of Stackable comes with 35 blocks, and you don't get more blocks in Pro, you get a bunch of additional features in Pro. Now let's look at the website for Stackable. If we look at the features, a couple of things that you'll see here is it has UI kits, and Stackable has a lot of pre-designed content, and they're collected into quote-unquote UI kits or collections that are similarly styled. You have wireframe blocks, and then you have integrations, and one of the integrations is the Blocksy theme. Unlike GenerateBlocks and Kadence Blocks, which each have the same developer also creates a theme, so there's a natural pairing. Stackable doesn't have its own theme, but people often use it with Blocksy. And it's a good pairing also because Blocksy currently doesn't have a block plugin either. They cross-promote each other. If we look at the pricing, there's the free version. You have a single site for $49, 3 sites for $99, or unlimited for $149. Those are the annual plans. And then an agency lifetime unlimited for $4.99. If we go to a website, here I have Stackable Blocks. Pro activated, and this is the Blocksy theme. If we go look at the plugins, you can see I have both the free and pro version of Stackable Blocks, but you can only have one activated at a time. So that's kind of nice. It helps to cut down on the number of plugins that you have installed. Their settings are here under Settings. They have kind of an overview page with some help. And documentation and support links. They have a settings page. You can add your own Font Awesome Pro license. And a nice thing about Stackable is you can turn off any of the features you don't want to use. You have settings here, and Stackable the Pro version comes with a role manager. So you can give clients the option to only edit and change images and content if you want to. Stackable comes with its own custom fields option. They're not trying to compete with ACF or MetaBox or something, but it's good enough if you want to add fields for contact information, things like that. You can set your breakpoints, you can force typography styles, and then, as I mentioned, you can turn off any of the blocks you're not using. Okay, and Stackable organizes the blocks by essentials, special blocks, and section blocks. And then there's some migration settings and things like that. Okay, so I like that you can turn off features that you don't need. There's an account page here, and Stackable is using Freemius. So this is bringing in the Freemius dashboard. I would prefer to keep that separate, but I think some people might find it convenient. There's a link to documentation and contact, and then this is where you would create your custom fields. You have text, number, date, time, or URL field. These are the custom field options. And the Stackable custom fields are available from any page or post. Okay, so if we go and take a look now in the editor, Stackable puts its blocks at the bottom. Their blocks that they have here, not all of them, but a lot of their blocks are composite blocks, as if you built them up yourself. But the advantage is that you have the kind of professional design and styling. An advantage of this way that they design their blocks is that they're very flexible. If we want to add, say, an image into our hero here, see, I just did it. I can move things around, very flexible in that regards. It's kind of the best of both worlds between the GeneratePress and the Kadence. You can adjust the spacing there just by dragging and dropping. And now another thing I wanted to show you is that not every block, but the majority of Stackable Blocks has dynamic data options. So dynamic data option, dynamic data option, dynamic data option. Let's look at a couple more. For example, you might not think that accordion would have dynamic data options. But dynamic data option, okay? Whereas Kadence had 7 blocks that supported custom fields, the majority of Stackable Blocks do that. So that's kind of a distinguishing feature. When we look at adding dynamic fields, you can add them from the current post, other posts, sites, or latest post. And in general, the Stackable blocks seem to have more custom field and dynamic data sources than the other two. Okay, here we have post fields, author fields. See, there are a lot of them here. Comment fields, media, and then it shows you detected custom fields. Okay, so that's another feature of the Stackable Blocks. Stackable also supports ACF, Metabox, and Toolset. The dynamic data is a pro feature. If we look at a block, what they call responsive, that's the device display options. And this is available in the free version. And then you get conditional display options in the pro version. The conditional display rules that you can create: login status, role, date and time, custom PHP, conditional tag, query string, post meta, site options, post ID, post type, and post taxonomy. That you can use for setting conditional display more than I think the other two. So Stackable, has kind of gone all in on the dynamic data side of things. So some other characteristics of the Stackable blocks: they have these consistent settings by block. You have kind of the block level settings, you have style options, and then you have advanced. You have general, you have position, and then the transform and transition. These are the animations. The motion effects are also pro features. You can add a custom attribute, add custom CSS, and we looked at conditional display. There's one other thing then that I want to show you about Stackable blocks that's another distinguishing characteristic, and that is if we go to themes and we switch to a block-based theme and we go into the full site editor. Let's go look at the templates. So let's go, for example, and look at the archive, and you can see it's using the query loop feature of core. Well, all of these blocks, so there's the post title. We can add in the stackable heading block. We can use dynamic data and do post title. Show it as a link. So Stackable is the only one of the three that officially supports the full site editor. That's a distinguishing characteristic of Stackable. Okay, we've looked at the 3 block collections. Now for some discussion and conclusions. One of the things that's coalesced for me is I've been testing, evaluating, and using these block collections is that they really each have a different philosophy. GenerateBlocks seems to emphasize a minimalist approach, being lightweight with no bloat. They want to provide the tools, but it requires some effort. For this reason, I think GenerateBlocks is attractive to power users and developers. The philosophy of Kadence Blocks. The Kadence Blocks seem to be targeting more general use. I think feedback from customers was important, but a lot of the innovation in Kadence Blocks is a result of the developer who knows its market. There's a slant towards marketing and e-commerce that you see when you consider the theme and the blocks in the context of the other plugins that are available in the Kadence bundle. I think for this reason, Kadence has been popular with entrepreneurs and with site builders who are looking for solutions for that range of use cases. And Stackable blocks, they seem to also be general use, but maybe more focused on content. Feedback from users has been central in the development of Stackable blocks. As we noticed when we were looking at the free version in the WordPress plugin directory, it has many more 5-star reviews, even though it has fewer installs than the other two. I think Stackable is looking to be the universal solution. You can use it when you're creating content, you can use it with a theme builder like the Blocksy theme builder, and you can use it in the full site editor. I have a real interest in dynamic data. I'm sure if I was a designer, I might have a different list of points here. But if we compare the 3 block collections in relation to dynamic data, this is what we see. GenerateBlocks supports ACF only. The dynamic data options are available in the free version, which is unusual. The query loop block with that query builder feature is very powerful, and it offers device visibility in the Pro version based on device size, but there are no conditional display options. Kadence supports ACF, MetaBox, and Toolset. Dynamic data is a feature of the Pro version. There's device visibility in the free version and conditional display in the Pro version. Stackable Blocks also supports ACF, MetaBox, and Toolset. Also offers dynamic data features in the Pro version. Also has device visibility in the free version and conditional display in the Pro version. In Kadence, only 7 of the blocks supported custom fields, but in Stackable, many of the blocks do. And Stackable is the only one of the 3 which officially supports full site editing. After looking at the 3 block collections, these are my conclusions. All 3 have a builder component, but you'll spend more time custom building with GenerateBlocks. I think the idea is that not only will you use the blocks with the GeneratePress theme builder, but you'll also use the patterns library feature that the Pro version offers to create your own patterns rather than rely on pre-designed ones from the developer. So if you're looking for a minimalist, most performant option, it's GenerateBlocks. However, if you're looking for more general usage, then you might be happier with Kadence or Stackable. One of the things I thought of in relation to general usage is when I'm writing in Gutenberg, the content editor, I don't want to stop and create a composite block. And so that's where having these pre-designed blocks really comes in handy, because you don't interrupt the flow as much when you're able to have those available and use them. Stackable focuses, I think, on content and the full site editor, while Kadence, you have that wider applicability, e-commerce, entrepreneurial side of the Kadence products. And so I think that also might help you to choose between the 2. Obviously, if you want to be on the cutting edge, working with the full site editor, Stackable is your go-to option. Otherwise, you have a choice between them. If you're really just focusing on content, Stackable might be the better option. If you're looking for wider applicability, then those e-commerce features and the appeal to the entrepreneur might make more sense for you. I hope I've done a good job of showing you the differences between these block collections. There's a text summary of the video available on the WebTNG website, along with other walkthroughs, reviews, and resources. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.